Okay, so Putting Yourself to Sleep Awakens You to Spiritual Consciousness by Edgar Cayce, who I didn't really do a lot of studying around Edgar Cayce, but when I started to think about teaching about dreams and how to use dreams to access spiritual wisdom and guidance, a book materialized about Edgar Cayce, and I started to read a little bit more about his work through dreams and his actual teaching others how to dream in a way that allows messages to come through. So he actually had part of his ministry was to actually teach people how to do this kind of dreaming. So that was really encouraging. So I'm very excited. This is the second time I've offered this class, and I'm very excited to share with you a way that I have learned, an easy way that I have learned, to connect to your inner wisdom, your spiritual guidance. For those of you who might be course students, we call it the Holy Spirit. For others, it might be called the higher self, the true self. It might be called God, inner source, inner wisdom. It goes by many names. But what we learn often in a spiritual path is that there is something trying to communicate with us, to teach us and to heal us and to allow us to see what it is that's blocking us, just like any teacher would want to teach their student the easy and effortless way of correcting any mistakes that they might be making in order just so they could learn what it is, the goals that they want to learn. So I wanted to actually begin tonight's class by sharing with you a recent dream that I had. I go by the philosophy that experience is the best teacher. So we are going to be doing some theory around dreaming and how to have spiritual dreams. But I wanted to give you an actual experience that I had most recently. Many of you who know me know that I've been doing this kind of dreaming for quite a while. But this was a recent dream, so all of you who see me on a more regular basis haven't heard this dream yet. So it'll be a little bit fresh for you, which is nice. I have to give you a little background to the dream. The background is that at this time in my life, I am going through some kind of a transition. I'm not quite sure exactly. It's a little bit fuzzy right now, but it is about some bridge, like being on a bridge and leaving the old and going to something new. And, it's just like thinking about you're on a bridge. When you're traveling from the old to the new, you're on a bridge. You're not in the old and you're not in the new. So you're in what we'll say a void or a place in which there isn't that much happening. So as will happen often when you're not busy doing things or having a goal to pursue, that is the time for the ego voice to really be loud and clear. And so one of my questions that I was asking is, why can't I see what's up ahead? So why can't I see where it is I'm going, or what is next, and what's ready to come into my awareness, into my learning, into my life? And I was really struggling with, I should be able to see this, it should be here, why isn't it here? And so that question brought in my own answers, which were something like, oh, well, I must be afraid. That's what it is. I must be afraid of what it is. So that's why it's not here, or that's why I don't know. Or I must not want to let go of the old. That must be what it is. Or maybe I don't want to change. Yeah, maybe that's the issue. Or I must be doing something wrong. There must be something I'm not doing correctly. So, of course, if those are all my answers, all my focus was going to these things. It was going to, okay, what am I afraid of? What am I not letting go of? And so I was putting a lot of energy toward that. So this, I probably had this dream maybe 2 weeks ago. So I have this dream. And in this dream, I find myself speaking to someone that I know who also is a spiritual, we'll say a spiritual student or somebody on a spiritual path. And this person says to me, Anyone who cannot prophesize what is going to happen is a fraud. Is a fraud, right? Anyone who has the gift of prophecy or can prophesize what is about to happen is a fraud. And I said, calmly, but very passionately, I said, now here's the key. I was 100% certain in what I was about to say. And I knew it was peaceful, it was knowing, it was certain. And I said, that's not always true. There are two reasons why one might not be able to know what is going to happen. And I'm thinking, you're sort of observing yourself in the dream, so I'm like, I wonder what she's going to say. I wonder what those two reasons are. Number one, and this is how it is in the dream. I'm going, number one, the Holy Spirit does not give them this information because it is in their best interest that they don't know. Or, number two, they had this gift in a past life and misused it, and it led them astray. So now it is best they don't have the gift so they won't get off track. I woke up from this dream and it completely shifted me. I had put all this energy into these ideas that were not even true. And I realized these were the two reasons why one might not know what's up ahead. And I started to explore those reasons on a deeper level and understand where the position of where I am in my life, why it's okay that I don't know, all the beauty and all the learning that's going to come because I don't see what's up ahead. I mean, I wrote like a list of this wonderful place to be when you don't know what's coming. So I wanted to give you that dream with the background. So we could understand, I thought it was a good example of understanding what is a spiritual dream. So there's certain qualities in that dream that we can find. The first quality of this dream is it highlights an issue. Now, the issue in my experience right in this particular dream is I didn't even know I had an issue. I didn't even know I was off track. I thought I was 100% certain what the problems were. I had judged myself for not being able to see up ahead. That is what the issue was that was highlighted, and there was an element of surprise in there. It revealed something that I wasn't consciously aware of, and that was the person I was speaking to when she said that, if you can't do this, you are a fraud. And that was highlighting to me, that is what I believe. So it highlights an issue that maybe you don't even know you have. It reveals a new answer that is totally unlike your own, or what you are consciously saying is your answer. And that is one of the most joyful things about a spiritual dream, is that it gives you this answer, and it makes 100% sense. You're certain of it, and it feels like such a relief because you couldn't have come up with that yourself, meaning yourself in your everyday conscious life. It's some wisdom. It's so wise. And in this particular dream, which doesn't always happen this way, I was the one saying it. So that told me that I had this wisdom within me that knew something below all that crazy ego thinking. It knew something else that was the truth. So it reveals a new answer that's totally unlike your own. Now, and the qualities of this answer is it's certain. There's a knowing to it, and there's no doubt in it. If anybody has ever had an experience of just being certain, you just know something. You don't know why you know it. You don't know how you know it. You just know it. And you didn't get there by intellectual understanding. It just comes to you. Yeah, that's what it is. And there's such a comfort in having an answer like that. Without any doubt, without any question, there's a comfort and a safety almost in knowing, there's the answer. The other thing that a quality to the answer, especially in this particular dream, is it redirects you. It's like it puts you in the right direction. So if you're going, astray, or you're going off course, or you're thinking a way that is not helpful to you, a spiritual dream will gently and lovingly just redirect you, say, oh, nope, this is it. And that completely redirected me. Instead of putting all my energy trying to figure out what I was afraid of, I ended up putting all my energy toward learning about following my intuition, about listening deeper every day without knowing what's at the end of the bridge. How do you take those steps over the bridge? You learn to trust. You learn to have more intuition. So my energy completely shifted on my practice. I don't know, can you hear that? Like how that is? I was putting all this effort on practicing something that wasn't even the problem. And then I just redirected and put all my energy toward a different practice. Okay? It also has this beautiful feeling of being connected, because it comes from within you. It's within your mind. It's not somebody outside of you telling you something. It feels like that's way far away from you, but you're so connected to this wisdom, and it comes from within you, and so it feels like yours. It feels like your wisdom that's coming through in a spiritual dream. So imagine all of that in just one dream. One dream. Right? So it didn't take 5 years of study. It just took one dream. And you get all of these benefits from it. So when you think about spiritual dreaming, the first thing that you want to recognize is that you, in life, in your spiritual journey, in your quest to be close to God, you need a guide. Okay, you need a guide. So often we're trying to do things on our own. So let's say we study our spiritual path and we intellectually know a lot, and then what do? We guide ourselves. Oh, I know exactly what I need to do. I know exactly what the problem is. I know what your problem is. I know what I need to study today. I know what I need to practice today. We guide ourselves because it's almost like we learn too much and then we forget, oh, I don't need a guide. What do I need a guide for? Now I know everything. I can just guide myself. So the first thing about a spiritual dream is that you have to recognize you need a guide. You need help. You need wisdom. Right? That's even without dreaming. That's just in your everyday life. So I want you to imagine, so imagine that you're on a road, and this is our road called life, and this is our spiritual journey road as well. And you're on this road, and here's your destination. You know, your destination, we'll say, is home. And you're going along the road, and, there's all these side roads that you can take. And, oh, that looks really interesting. I wonder what's down that road. So you go down that road, there's a dead end. You go down that road, there's a dead end. You keep going down there, then you go over here, there's a dead end. And so imagine that you've been given a guide. Someone who knows the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. And this guide knows exactly where and what you need to think and do and see just to get you gently ever to the goal. So this guide is so amazing that even if you get distracted and you want to, like my example, you get distracted and you want to go down this road, and it sounded like I was on the right road. That seems like a spiritual practice. I must be afraid. And what did the Spirit do? The Spirit, through a dream, just redirected me and go, oh, no, we're going right here. Let's just stay right on this road. Let's not go down there. You don't need to go down there. That's not even the problem. Let's just go up here. So the first aspect of accessing your spiritual wisdom through dreaming is the recognition that you do need a guide. And your acceptance that you need a guide. So I wanted to, I don't know if any of you have ever heard this dream either, but again, I'm going to use my dreams also to do the teaching as well. So I had this dream, and this is a great, this was pretty early in my dreaming, spiritual dreaming years, that I had this dream. I'm going to let it kind of speak for itself. So in this dream, I'm driving a car from a friend's house to a college campus, and I'm dropping off my kids. So I dropped them off, and then the next stop was going to be home. I'm driving out of the campus, and I start to panic because I don't know the way. I don't know the way home. And there's a stop sign. So I have to make a choice to go left or to go right. So the panic is rising, and I just calm myself for a moment, and I say, okay, what do I know? And I remembered I came from my friend's house, which was the right, so I know not to go right, because that would be going backwards. So I felt a little bit relief in this dream that okay, at least I know don't go that way, right? So I decide, okay, I turn left. So I turn left, and I don't know where I'm going. So I pass a gas station. I look at the gas station, and I almost passed it by, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to try to figure this out myself. I'm just going to go. I'm sure I can figure it out. But then I quickly realized, oh, you know what? It would certainly be a lot easier if someone already knew the way. So I'll just stop and ask the gas station attendant. So I pull into the gas station to ask for directions. That is the last thing I remember. The next scene in my dream, I'm standing in my living room, already home. I have no idea how I got there. And in my living room with me was the mechanic at the gas station. So I'm all confused, and I said, how did I get home? And he explained that he decided to navigate the way home for me because he already knew the way. And then he goes on to say, but there were a few glitches along the way. For instance, you did run out of gas once, but I concocted lemon juice, 7-Up, and sugar, and I gave you enough fuel to get home. And I am amazed. And I said, how did you know how to do that? Nobody knows how to do that. I couldn't believe my luck. And I realized, wow, all I did was stop and ask for directions. And I found someone who not only knew the way, but also knew how to take care of any obstacle along the way effortlessly with no effort at all on my part. And I felt so much gratitude in that moment. So when I came out of the dream, what I realized was that was a checkpoint for me. That was a dream that said, okay, now you're going off on your own. This is why you need to ask for directions. It was a message to me that said, just ask me. This awareness of not only does the Spirit, the inner wisdom, guide you the way home, knows how to deal with every obstacle you could possibly imagine, with you not having to figure it out at all. But the other metaphysical part of that dream that I realized was, when we arrive home, it's going to feel like that. It's going to feel like no time passed at all. And you're not going to have a memory of any of the bad. You're not going to have a memory of any of the obstacles. All you're going to know is that you were gently guided all the way home, and you're just going to be pleased and happy to be home and so grateful that you stopped and asked for directions. All right? So a spiritual dream is, in essence, stopping and asking for directions.